So when I started following my dreams 10 plus years ago, I did not want to have a relationship with God. In fact, having a relationship with God was not on my radar, and I probably didn't even believe in God at that point. And if I did, I didn't have a high opinion of God. And to tell you the truth, it's even questionable now about my, desire to have a relationship with God. I would say I have more of a desire now to have a relationship with God, but that desire waxes and wanes. It's not perfect. And while my relationship with God is like a work in progress, I will say though that compared to 10 years ago, I do have more of a desire to have a relationship with God now. But like I say, it's definitely, not something that I work on every day, to be honest. And it's not something that is super strong or perfect at all. Like, there are many days where I go without actually thinking about God or desiring God or actually engaging God in my life. So there's a lot to work on in my relationship with God. But I will say that compared to 10 years ago, my desire for God is definitely there and a lot stronger than what it was, because it was actually completely non-existent previously. So when I started following my dreams, it wasn't for the goal of having a relationship with God, but somehow following my dreams led me to the start of wanting to develop a relationship with God. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is how following your dreams can help your relationship with God. Because in the pursuit of my dreams, I've found that I've had so much emotional blocks and trauma blocking my growth and success in my music journey, which has kind of forced me in a way to explore those blocks, to explore that trauma emotionally. And in times where I've had no one to help me on this journey and I feel like I'm getting nowhere, it's propelled me to put my faith in God and develop trust in God and experience God in a very personal way that I've never really experienced God before in my life. So following my dreams has led me to feeling through a lot of emotional trauma and blocks in my life, which has helped me to experience how loving, kind, beautiful, compassionate, and present God really is in my life. So when I started following my dreams, I started out in a pretty self-centered place, which I wasn't really aware of at the time. But my dreams were really motivated by a lot of unloving and selfish desires. And some of those unloving and selfish desires, which I refer to as addictions, included wanting to be liked, admired, approved of, wanting to have glory, wanting to have attention, just really really selfish, desires, which were really motivated by a lot of my low self-worth feelings. As I mentioned in previous videos, I lived pretty much all my life, wanting to not exist. So I had a pretty low sense of self-worth. And if you look at a lot of the popular artists in today's music industry, a lot of the music industry is built upon feeding this addiction in artists, this, need for attention, approval, glory, wanting to be loved type emotions. And that's actually quite a big topic for another discussion. But yeah, a lot of, popular artists, I think, share this feeling inside of them that they use their, music to basically cover up. And the result of that in the music industry, which I'm not sure if you've noticed, is actually a lot of narcissism. It shows up as a lot of narcissism in the music industry, where there's a lot of, popular artists who are hypersexualized. It seems like it seems really sleazy and icky, to be honest. Like a lot of the music videos that you watch, it's very hypersexualized with a lot of sexual projections, coming from the artist through their music. So anyway, I digress. That's a whole other topic altogether. But I mention it because they were some of the, unloving and selfish desires that I had. Was I wanted to use my music, and my talents, which I didn't really have much of, to be honest, but I wanted to use that as a way to sexually projecting and be sexually projected at, in my music career. I wanted my, music to cover over this like deep hole inside of me of just feeling like I was completely worthless in this world. And I wanted I wanted everyone to admire me and give me all these positive and good feelings. So, as I said, when I started out on this journey, I started out in a very self-centered place, wanting to take from the world and use my gifts as a way to, cover over a lot of pain in my soul. But mixed in with these unloving desires were some pure loving desires. And that included wanting to learn how to grow and heal, and also wanting to learn about love and experience true love in my life. But like a relationship with God was something that was just not in the equation, something that was not even at the forefront of my, mind at all. But the funny thing about having loving desires is that God is, whether you are aware of it or not, God is going to grant you the loving desires over the unloving desires. And what I noticed was that although I didn't believe in God really, or have any desire for a relationship with God, I now know that God was actually leading me to people, places, experiences, and opportunities to grant me those loving desires, to teach me about how to heal, how to grow, and also to teach me about love, especially God's love. And all of these experiences, people, places, opportunities actually led me to opening up my heart to God again and wanting to know about God and wanting to discover God again in my life. It was my loving intentions and desires that actually led me to God anyway. And as I've developed a greater desire for healing and for God, this has ironically benefited my dreams and my goals as a musician. And so over the past 10 years, I've seen the most growth in my life than I've ever seen in my whole entire existence. And this has taught me that you can't grow from a place of trauma. If you want to grow in your life and you want to experience more love, fulfillment, joy, and happiness, you've got to go through this refinement process in your soul. You have to go through this healing process in your soul of healing and feeling through a lot of trauma that is causing the pain and suffering in your life. And so what that taught me is that God is never going to fulfill my unloving desires. Other people might fulfill my unloving desires, but God will never do that. God is only going to grant me my loving desires and wishes for my life. And this also teaches me that whether we are conscious of it or not, God is always interacting in our life, and God is always attempting to lead us to more love, to more healing. And so how your dreams can help you with your relationship with God? Well, when you follow your dreams, you are living in truth to your desires and what you want for your life. And this can really open your soul to having more of a connection with God. When you are in that place of truth, that is when God can connect to you the most. So I believe that can open you up to experiencing more love and experiencing more love from God. So just by following your dreams, this can, lead you to having a more deeper connection with God, it can lead you to discovering about God if you don't actually believe in God and you don't actually care about God. It can actually, lead you to discovering about God and opening up your heart to having a connection with God again. If you're someone like me who was completely shut down and, didn't have one care or thought about God, like following your dreams can, actually lead you to experiencing God in a very beautiful way, especially if you're open to it. And I think the one thing that helped me in discovering God again in my life was having this desire to want to learn about love, having this desire to want to improve my life, grow, and heal. And I think having those loving intentions and those dreams led me to discovering God all over again in my life and developing, you know, a relationship with God. Well, it was the start of me wanting to develop a relationship with God. So by following your dreams and your passions, especially if they're in harmony with love, can lead you to a greater understanding of yourself and also lead you to coming to understand God as well. And it is through our dreams and passions that we can get to know God and experience God in a very personal way, one on one, without the need for a middleman or religion. And it is through this connection with God and it is through this seeking out of God and seeking to experience, know, love, and receive love from God that we can have greater fulfillment, healing, and happiness in our life. I know that I don't have a perfect connection with God. I know that most days I don't desire God still. I'm not seeking out God 24/7 in my life, but I know that from the tiniest experiences and the tiniest interactions I have had with God, it has changed my life in a way that I can't even explain. It has changed me, it has changed my life, my outlook, my values, my morals, my desires. It has helped me to grow immensely just from the very tiny experiences I've had with God. So I can't imagine how much more my life would change if I just engaged a relationship with God 24/7. I'm still working through a lot of blocks and emotions that prevent that from happening, but I can't imagine how much my life would change if I were to have a permanent and solid relationship and connection with God. And it's something that I look forward to, up here, but in my soul, I'm still really scared about that, of what that means and what that looks like. But it is something that I hope and it is something that I hope I can achieve and look forward to one day. So yeah, shout out to God. Shout out to God for changing my life, for changing me. Shout out to God for weaseling her way back into my life. Shout out to God for just helping me through some of my most darkest moments. Shout out to God for helping me to develop my gifts in music. Shout out to God for helping me to see where I'm engaging my dreams and my passions in an unloving way. Shout out to God for creating my soul and for giving me life and this experience on earth. It's beautiful. Shout out to God for bringing me to this place in my life, for being firm with me as well, and showing me when I'm in error, showing me when I'm in pain, and showing me what emotions I need to feel, and for helping me. Yeah, just shout out to God. Shout out to God for bringing my soulmate into my life. Even though I don't appreciate my soulmate enough. Just shout out to God for life and this earth and for love and wow, for being such a beautiful, compassionate, loving parent. Shout out to God for just all the beauty in the world. Beauty. Shout out to God for like learning, education, growth. Like, oh my gosh, just shout out to God. So again, there's a lot more to this subject, but in my limited knowledge and experience of God, that's all I have to share for now. So I hope that you are inspired to follow your dreams and perhaps open up your heart to God. You know, and I'm not talking about this from a religious perspective. Again, I'm not religious. I'm not a Christian. I don't go to church. But I definitely have a passion for God and coming to discover all that I can about God. So I hope that this inspires you to follow your dreams, and this inspires you to open your heart up to discovering about God. What I'll do is, if you're interested to learn more about God, I will leave some links to some free resources in the description of this video. And if you'd like to support me in this channel and what I do, you can join me for free over on Patreon just by signing up with your email address. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and my name is Electronics. I'll see you in the next video.